Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again, and welcome to another video here at Wild Moon Lacquer. In today's video, I have another summer collection for you guys, this time from Morgan Taylor. I did purchase these myself. I'll post the link down below to where I got these, and these were inspired by The Little Mermaid. So I was really excited to see this new collection, and we have some really beautiful and interesting colors, so let's go ahead and take a look. The first one is a yellow called All Sands on Deck. And this one is a light pearl finish in a soft sunshine yellow. Here it is in one coat. As a pearl finish, it does have a little bit of a streaky formula. So here's our second coat. I think I did get a little bit of pooling there on the sides in that first coat, but that second coat did apply really nicely, and it's definitely one of those formulas that you want to be careful on with your brush strokes just to minimize how much streaking you get on the nail. But we'll have to see how those dry. But there it is in two coats. Next up we have one of my favorites from the swatches that I saw before I bought the collection, and this is a beautiful salmon shade. This one is called Let's Crab a Bite, and this is a stunning shade. I thought it was really unique. It has a little bit of a shimmer to it. So here's the first coat of Let's Crab a Bite. This one is super opaque, you guys. This one could easily be a one coater on some people. Look at that color. The shimmer on this is pretty subtle. We'll see if that builds up any in a second coat. And here's that second coat of Let's Crab a Bite. This is definitely a really beautiful color. Should be pretty unique to my collection. It's a very unique shade of this salmony orange. The shimmer is definitely very subtle on the nail. It adds maybe a glimmer to it, but it's definitely not that prominent on the nail. But a stunning color there in two coats. Next up we have this very light shade called Corally Invited. It's interesting to me that they chose this one as a coral shade, but I think I can see where they're getting inspiration from. They're probably being inspired more by the soft natural coral that is a light pink like this. This one I think is just a straight up cream formula. I don't see any additional shimmers. So here's that first coat. And on application, I would say this is closer to a corally maybe. There is a bit of a squish factor there in that first coat. You can see a little bit of unevenness in the application there, but not too bad. Definitely not as opaque though as Let's Crab a Bite. And here's our second coat. The second coat I think does help sort of even things out, but I would say you do have to be a little bit careful on your application with this, otherwise you could get some bald spots. In fact, on my swatch there, you can see a little bit down there at the edge that got a little bit bald there on that second coat application. Now for this one, I would say for my skin tone anyways, this is not my favorite. I don't think colors like this are very flattering on my skin tone. There's just not enough saturation. Although I will say on camera, it's kind of washing this color out. There's a pinch more saturation. In person, it is that light pink coral shade. On camera, it's picking up a lot more of that almost skin tone quality to it, kind of like ivory foundation. Next up, we have this beautiful cream in a magenta shade, and this one is called You Octopi My Heart. And this one does have a shimmer to it. Look at that beautiful blue glow. So here's that first coat. This is another one that seems to have a really nice cream formula. Now that does usually mean that you're not going to see the shimmer as much as you would if the formula was a sheerer base. So this one I would say is pretty similar to Let's Crab a Bite. It's basically a one coater there. So here is a second coat of You Octopi My Heart. This is definitely a beautiful formula, although like I mentioned before, since it is a thicker formula, a more opaque formula, you don't really get a chance to see much of that shimmer that you saw in the bottle. As you can see, there's not really any glimmer or shimmer that's showing up, at least very prominently. It adds more of just a little bit of a sheen to the nail, but just barely. It's very subtle. But there it is in two coats. Next up, we have this beautiful orchid leaning purple called Tell Me About It. Now this is one of their specialty finishes that has these micro flakies as well as a shimmer. The base of this seems to almost lean towards a pearl finish. So here it is in one coat. For this one, it does have a shearer formula, but like I mentioned before, that's mainly what you want to see with this type of a finish. That way you actually see the ingredients in the polish. Now I did get a little bit too much polish there, so we do have a bit of pooling in that first coat, but pretty decent opacity in that first coat without being too opaque to drown out the ingredients. And here's our second coat. This definitely has a bit of that pearl finish to it, but not super pearly. It's kind of a mix between a pearl and a shimmer. Then of course you have those little flakies in there as well. I would say you want to be careful about your brush strokes though, because it does have that lean towards that pearl finish. So there it is in 2 coats. You can see that little bit of a brush stroke there. We'll have to see how that looks when it dries. And then last we have this beautiful oceany blue called Ride the Wave, and this is another of their specialty finishes. We have a beautiful shimmer in that base plus holographic glitter. So here it is in 1 coat, and this is another one where they did go sheerer so that you can see all of the ingredients. And here's our second coat. This one still maintains a pretty sheer-ish formula, but you do get a lot more of that shimmer and the glitter on the nails there in a second coat. For this one, I would say it probably falls somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater depending on your nail length and application. But there it is in 2 coats. You can see those holographic glitters twinkling away nicely, and you definitely get a wash of that amazing shimmer on the nail. So here they all are with a glossy top coat. We do still get a little bit of streaking on the 2 that were a pearl finish. That was all sands on deck and Tell Me About It, but not bad. I think they do dry down and sort of even out and disperse across the nail, and they all look really beautiful with that glossy top coat. So overall, I would say we have some winners here, but we definitely had a few that I was a little disappointed in. I would say this one here, which was You Octopi My Heart, had such a beautiful shimmer in the bottle, but you just don't see that at all on the nail. I wish that they had decided to thin down the opacity of the cream base that they used, because if they did that, I feel like you could have seen that shimmer on the nail, which would have been absolutely gorgeous. But as it is, the color is really pretty. I think it looks great on. It's a beautiful summer shade. It's just that that shimmer is sort of lost in the base. Also, for myself, just because of my skin tone, I don't think that Corally Invited looks very flattering on my skin tone, so I probably won't be keeping that, but I really did like this one. Let's Grab a Bite turned out to be one of my favorites. It is this fiery, spicy orange that has a bit of a salmon lean to it, and I don't think I have anything else like that in my collection. Now with that one, again, you do have in the bottle this shimmer in it that really doesn't show up at all on the nail, so that again was a bit of a disappointment, but the color itself is absolutely gorgeous. Let's go on to favorites. I would say my 2 favorites of the collection, besides the color of Let's Grab a Bite, would be the 2 specialty finishes here at the end. Tell Me About It and Ride the Wave had really beautiful ingredients in it, and I liked that we could actually see them on the nail. Now the finish on Tell Me About It, being that mix between a pearl and a shimmer, does mean that you have to be a little bit careful on application, but I like that you can see all of those beautiful small flakies there on the nail, and it's a purple, so it is definitely a favorite. And then Ride the Wave is that gorgeous summer blue with all of that beautiful holographic glitter and shimmer, so another favorite from this collection. So there we have it. That was the Little Mermaid collection from Morgan Taylor for summer 2023. Let me know down below which ones were your favorites. Did you like any of these? Did you get any of them? I'm curious to see if you had any that you've been enjoying this summer. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me and looking at beautiful polish. Hopefully you have a good rest of your day. If you're new, make sure to hit the little subscribe button down below. That way you don't miss out on any of my new videos, and I will see you in that next one.